everybody, and welcome back to the Virzi Effect podcast show. My name is Paul Virzi, and you guys are listening to episode 554. And I have a great episode for you guys. I told you guys I would be back in the New York studio. Okay, we did some solo ones. I did one from the hotel because I was traveling. But I am back in New York City at the new studios that we're using, which everybody is saying amazing things about. And I have an amazing guest here today, somebody that I've seen on the New York comedy scene, I would say, for probably a decade now. We've worked together at all different places. Funny guy. Just did James Corden. The guy's doing great. He's super funny. And we bond over certain things. Family, Star Wars, all kinds of shit. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Virzi Effect this week, Mr. Greg Stone. Greg, thank you for being on the show.
Yo, thanks for having me.
Of course.
So hilarious. Oh.
Well, I have had a fourth camera. I would have been able to do a close-up, so let me just do it quick.
I'll buy a fourth camera next week.
I'll bring 100 cameras.
I'll fuck it. I'll have every angle. We're doing fucking metaverse.
Yeah, man.
I'll do a live studio. We'll just have people around the office. Listen. And that, yeah, so if you get me like this, I'll look at Greg like this and we're perfect. Yeah. Oh, I got a funny thing to bring up too.
Pre-interview pause. Because all I want to do is talk to you right now.
Yeah, I know.
And I want to burn all the goods.
Yeah.
But, all right, so we're bit to the wide.
Greg Stone, what are you doing, dude? How have you been?
I'm good, man.
Last time I saw you, this is funny. Last time I saw you, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if you remember this. This is really, this made me laugh because me and you had a nice bonding thing.
Yeah.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I have done my spots all over the city. My last spot was a later spot at the Cellar.
Yeah.
It's not crazy long ago, a few months, I would say. And I'm just upstairs. I'm upstairs to 1 in the morning. Everyone's drinking wine, getting their like final cocktails, their last call. And me and you end up at a table together, and you just say to the bartender, "Hey man, can I get like an iced coffee with something?" And I go like this. I go, "That sounds fucking incredible." And I go, "You know what? You're doing. I'll do that too." And then we talked Star Wars for probably an hour.
Yeah,
and it was one of the best Star Wars talks that I've ever had. We were rating our movies, and that's the last time I saw you, buddy.
I'm hardcore. I'm hardcore to Star Wars. Also,
you are.
That time, it was 1:30, but my spot, I think, was like 2:30 and like 3. So, like, I still was getting a coffee. I was like, oh, I haven't gone up yet. And I just had a kid. So I was like, oh, like, I've just been up for 24 hours. And I remember seeing you, and I went, oh, that's where it can go. Like, his kids, they're now 12 and 13 and 10.
Yeah,
right? 13
and 10.
And I was like, he seems together. Like, I'll get through this. Like, I'll get through this.
Yeah. That's the funny thing is when people were getting kids after me, because I was literally like, I'm like the OG of a comic who had kids. Like, people literally looked to me like you want to talk Star Wars. I was like the Dagobah. I was like, I was like Yoda of like.
The original trilogy, bro.
I remember when I did the first time I ever did YKWd, and that's when Bobby had like 8 comics sitting around to fuck, everyone's trying to get their word in. And everybody leaves, and on the way out, Bobby goes, "Dude, Virzi," and I had just met him. He goes, "Can you stick around for a second?" It was almost like after class, like a teacher. And I'm going, "What the fuck is this?" And he goes, "Dude, I'm having a kid." He's like, "What's it?" He was asking me, and I just said, I go, "Dude, you're going to be, there's this misconception that you're going to be completely fucking lost.
Yeah.
You're going to be a shitty parent. You're going to be, it makes you better."
I got 2 out of those already. Yeah. I am completely lost, and I'm a completely shitty parent.
And you're and he's fine. And he's fine.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So that's what I mean. You're gonna listen. I didn't have my shit together. I remember getting hammered, and some people were like, "I think you need to go home." Because we need to be domesticated.
Right.
We're like
animals.
We're like rescue dogs that finally got somebody to go, "No, we're gonna you have a stable home."
Yeah.
And we still have to figure that out. But how is being a father now? You're doing comedy how long?
20 years.
You're doing comedy 20 years, and you have a 2-year-old?
1-year-old. Just turned 1 September.
Oh, just turned 1. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how is that?
Well, I mean, it's been like, it's equal. It is the most brutal thing, but I got all this love and understanding of life.
Yeah.
Everything was, this is the way I kind of been saying it. It's like the way salt works is salt takes all the moisture out of food, so it brings out the flavor. Children take all the fun out of life, so that when you get a little bit of life, you enjoy it. Kids are salt. This kid is salt.
The kid is salt.
Yeah, like,
I've never heard that before. That's
how
good.
I feel.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, you get high and watch, you know, fucking Wizard of Oz. I'm like, you ever have a kid and just stare at the wall? Because I'm just staring at the wall like, this is awesome. And I'm like, it's like I'm stoned. Like, life tastes better when they're in bed. You know what I mean?
While you were saying that, I was just thinking my son was eating chicken the other day.
Yeah.
And he just goes, Dale, you know what would make this better is if we could put a little salt on it.
Yeah, put him on.
And I'm going, I guess the chicken's not that good. So maybe life needs salt. Like, yeah, maybe life needs, I never even thought of it like that.
You should have smashed that kid's face right into the chicken. Like, you're the salt, you son of a bitch. No, yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
you know.
It's so cool though, man, to see a nice guy. I always remember you were always a fucking cool. Like, I've always done this, and I've talked about this before on our comedy journeys, so to speak, our paths in this business. You know, people don't realize 20 years goes, like, you know, I've done 20 years, and you go from, you know, open mics to this, and then to, you know, you feature for people, and then you headline yourself, and you go through all that stuff, and along the way you remember people that. I remember, my problem is I remember everything almost too much.
Really?
And that's oh, dude, my memory is like, my father told me from when I was a kid, dude, I'm an elephant, dude.
Really?
I remember one time, the only time me and you ever got into it wasn't even an argument, but I remember one time me and you had a funny thing on Bobby Kelly's podcast. But this is before we were. This is like
sure.
You were always like, when I met you at Levity years ago. You were always just so fucking cool and nice, and I always like really liked you. And then one time I go, wait, you're Italian and your name is Stone. Why didn't you? And you kind of went like, wait, don't fucking go at me with why my name is. And looking back, I'm like, yeah, but I didn't really, because you're an Italian kid.
Yeah. I'm like Bronx Italian. My dad's from the Bronx.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I'm from Jersey, so I'm not like, I'm just fucking guy Italian. You know what I mean?
You're like American, go to the Yankee game Italian.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the kind of Italian I'm. We know fungul and I know ugats. Those are the two words I know in Italian. That's it.
So Stone was just something you.
Stone was my mom's name.
Oh, okay. So then.
Yeah. I went with Stone. The two reasons.
And what is that? What is Stone?
Who the fuck? I mean, like, my mom's
it's probably
got,
like a million things.
My mom's like 70% Italian, and then like other side is just like French, English bullshit.
Yeah.
There's like we have
French, English bullshit. Yeah.
My mom's like related to like the guy to like Aaron Burr and shit. Like, there's people. Thomas Stone signed the Declaration of Independence. That guy's a direct descent. My mom is like directly related to him.
Oh shit.
It went crazy shit. And then the other side is all fucking fuckheads, you know what I mean? You know, all gavones.
Yeah. Your mom has all this like historic stuff, and your dad's like, remember that guy that got shot?
Yeah.
It was Jersey City '84. That was a friend of mine.
Dude, my mom's mother was at the track gambling, and my dad's dad was at the track the same day, years before they met. Yeah. My dad's dad died of a heart attack at the track. My mom's mom was there that day, and she goes, "Oh, I was there. There was a hubbub. This person died," and my dad was like, "That was my dad." So both yeah. So like this wild insanity of just connection. Also, why I don't gamble, because I'm like, oh, that is in my blood. I need to not fuck with that shit.
Your grandmother was at your grandfather's. Basically, when he collapsed. And he had a heart attack at the track. And they knew nothing of each other. She was just there as a spectator, and she goes, oh, there's some commotion there, and this man collapsed, and that was your grandfather, and your grandmother was there. That is, dude, if that's not like telling, that's wild.
Insane.
I mean, that's wild.
Right.
Oh, my God.
5 to 10 years later, my dad meets my mom. And I guess they discussed, like, he was like, this is how my dad died. And my grandmother was like, I was there. I remember someone died at the track the day I was at the track. Oh, my God. How funny would that be if your wife was like, yeah, my mother wants to go to Saratoga. You're like, you know what? I'm going to. Like, we can't go back there. Wait, what track was it? Was it Yonkers Raceway? You know? Something around, something New York. Some New York thing. I don't know. Something around here. So if it's a track around here, it's either historic Yonkers Raceway, which was huge in the 30s and 40s. Like, that's where everybody would get that. Movie stars would go. It was Belmont in Long Island.
But that's wild.
Probably
man.
Yonkers, but Belmont sounds familiar. But also, I'm from New York, so probably I just hear that.
Yeah, you hear Belmont or you hear Yonkers Raceway.
Yeah.
So no, man, I see you out there doing your thing, and we were supposed to do this podcast a while ago. I'm glad it worked out.
Oh yeah.
Here's another reason. Here's another reason why Greg is you're like an honest dude, man. Like a real dude. Yeah, because I go like this. I go, yeah, dude, let's do the podcast. I go, I can Zoom, and you just go, it's better in a studio. And I just and I was just like, fuck, he's right. It's my show, but he's right. Maybe I got to get my shit together. I swear to God, he was literally like, yeah, Paul, you almost said, Paul, don't do that. Like without saying, I'd rather a good podcast.
Yeah,
I'd rather a good podcast than some grainy shit. And I was like, you know what, he's right. So now we have this, the great Mike Albanese, who's now my New York, I have my Beverly Hills producer who cuts the Virzi effect, but I have my on the site guy who's Mike Albanese.
But I want to tell you why I did that. No offense.
No, go ahead.
Of course. The reason I did that was because I didn't look. I'm sure your podcast is doing great. I have no idea. But I was like, no, I don't want to do this because I'm trying to get numbers. I was like, I love Paul. I want to go jam with Paul.
Oh, that's cool.
You know what I mean? I was like, no, I want to get in a room. We'll have a good time. I was like, do Zoom. It's like, man, that's like just, I don't know, I want to hang. I want to come. Yeah. Be in the mix. You know what I mean?
And you know what? Every podcast is just better when you're looking at the person, you're talking, you're having a good time, and it's not pandemic anymore. Pandemic was just you were able to still do things, but why not do that? And now that we have this, and now that we can come down, it's amazing.
My God. Sorry.
I want to talk about you on James Corden.
Okay.
Because this is what I loved about it. From the clips that I saw, you just were just fucking around the $5 thing that you did. I saw you gave him.
Right.
You gave him. You tipped him, which I've never seen before. You made
We're
made that your Italian. Only in Italian. Hey, thank you for putting me on the show. Come here. No. Come here.
It's a little something. Just a little something.
You know what's funny is I was in London with my family. Yeah. I performed out there, and we went to the Giants-Packers game out there. I had a whole European thing. Yeah. And we leave the game, and I'm walking down the street, and we're just trying to get out of there, and there's a bar, and all of a sudden, these Asian guys, and I just hear, oh, James Corden, right? And I just keep hearing that, and I'm going, what are they saying? And it was just like, Corden. And I look, and he's just right there. He was like right there. He was literally right there. Yeah. And he was just like getting into a car. I guess he went to the game, too.
Oh, wow.
And I was thinking about how you gave him $5, and I was like, dude, that is such, because everybody, all my friends goof on me. Like Giannis and I have this amazing story where Giannis basically shits on me on all the podcasts because I tried tipping a guy in Walgreens.
Of course.
And it was Christmas. And the guy goes, I go, hey man, where can I get scissors? My wife needed scissors, probably to cut like wrapping paper. And he goes, oh, it's over here. And then he runs back. He goes, no, I'm sorry. Come here. It's actually over here. The guy went out of his way.
Yes.
So I peel off a 10. And he goes, no, whoa. And Giannis is like, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, dude, he can't. Are you out of here? So they've been making fun of me, but you giving
it's the culture.
You
take care of him.
But and here's my favorite thing: you gave Corden a 5. You didn't give him a 20. You didn't give him a. Did he keep it? Did he keep it?
He eventually threw it. He was like, I wouldn't let him take it back. But then when we left, he was like, you can't. I can't. And I was like, part of me was wondering. I'm like, is this like an FCC violation? That's if I tipped him, is that how you get in the show?
You're like, is that a network? Is that the network going? Jim, we can't have. That's like bribery. Like we can't.
That's pay to play. That's payola. They call on the radio. It's like he might, but he gave it back to me, and I gave it to my wife because when a 5 leaves my hand, it cannot be. A sword leaves, it cannot be sheathed till tastes blood. Yeah, if I take a tip out, that money's now never coming back.
You'll let it sit on the street before a homeless guy tried to give it back to you, right?
Yep, absolutely. This money's gone.
This money's gone.
Yes.
So it's either gonna burn or go into a sewer, but it's not coming back to me.
It will not return to my wallet unless it goes through the world and then finds its way through a cash register as change back to me.
Now going back to a gambler, some gamblers would be happy that they were like, they're like, look for the 100 on the street. No, I'm not taking it. All of a sudden you see them shifting through leaves. You have a story about the James Corden experience.
Yeah. So just to set it up, I didn't want to, my wife wanted to come with me. And I was like, if you come, we have to bring the kid. And I'm like, look, I never did late night. I've been trying to do this for 15 years.
Right.
Could not get it. It finally happened. And I'm like, this is my test. Like, I was like, I can't be not sleeping. So she's like, no, I'm going to take care of us. If I go, we're going. she brings her mom, her dad. She rented a huge house, rented a BMW X7. Like, we did. First of all, you do not make money doing courting. Like, you lose money. She was like, we're putting it on. She's like custard charge. She bucked that shit on the credit card. She's like,
she was just happy.
She's like, we're going. We're doing this. We're going to be there for you.
That's amazing.
But I don't like flying. I really don't like flying. It's weird being a comedian. I don't like flying. So I'm holding the baby the whole time. The kid was amazing. We get to the tarmac. He then shits his pants and starts screaming, right? So I'm like, Jesus Christ, we made it the whole way, and he shits his pants.
In L.A.?
To landing in L.A.
And then he shits his pants in L.A.
Right. He does the whole flight perfect. We land, shits his pants, starts screaming. And that is a metaphor for how this set went. So I'm so nervous about doing flying. Not even the courting. I don't like flying. So I'm like, this is fucking me up. I'm not nervous at all to do the late night set. So I'm like, plus I'm past it in my mind. I'm like, nah, man, I've been doing comedy this long. This should have happened years ago. Everyone who's doing that was 2 years in. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm going. I'm taking big swings. I'm tipping them. I'm doing the whole fucking thing.
I love it.
So we get there. They're like, do a little bit, right? Because they do a thing where they open the green room door and they talk to you. And they're like, usually people do a dumb joke. I went, I'm not doing a dumb joke. I'm taking a big fucking swing, right? Door opens. I'm looking at the camera. Cordon's in the camera. And Jimmy Smits is the other guy in the podcast.
Yeah.
And I just look at the camera. I go, where's Jimmy? And where's my damn money, right? And then Cordon's like, what is happening? And I'm like, owes me money, blah, blah, blah. He yes-ands me. He's like, Jimmy's in that room. Bang on the door. I start banging on the door. Jimmy's like, you never get your money, Greg. You're never going to get it. He starts responding.
No.
It becomes like this a hilarious little improvised scene.
So Jimmy Smits actually sees what's going on and he plays along.
Yes,
that's
and
incredible.
The thing. It's awesome. I'm like, this is awesome. Then I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, you got this. Like, you're taking big swings. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
We go to the mic check, and I get to the microphone, and I saw the crowd. Not the crowd. I saw everyone there, and I went, I don't know a single joke I've ever told in my life. I just completely blank on my set, and I'm like, fuck. But I got like 20 minutes till I have to go on. So we come back from the mic check. I just listen to the set. I just listen. I go, if you can do the first jet, if you get the first words, you got this. That's all you got to do, the first words. So I'm like, fuck. I'm afraid that I'm a blank again. As soon as the curtain opens, to make the stage my own, I just grab my belly. I go, geez, I'm getting fat. Like, I just like, fuck it. Just have a good time. Be goofy, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Grab the microphone, hit the first joke. Now we're good. I just go in. I know my last joke is this mosquito joke, right? So I do the mosquito joke, and then in my mind, I'm like, I got to tip Corden. The only reason I did this was because I thought it was funny to tip this guy. I'm like, this is all I want to do.
This is so great.
So I do my last joke, gets a laugh. He's not coming over. And I'm like, this guy's not going to come over and talk to me? Right? I go, he's got to shake my hand. I go, this fucking guy? I'm like, I know he fucking shook this guy's hand. Now I'm looking at the crowd. They're all looking at me. And I'm like, fuck are these people looking at? So I go, that's it. That's the end of my act, right? I go, you want more? I start doing crowd work. I look at this guy, I go, my wife's crazy. You married, buddy? And then I'm like, I don't know why. It's like they're not playing music. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I look over at Corden and he goes, yeah, man, you got to say thank you and good night. And I went, what? I just did my act and never said thank you. I just did my act, ended on the joke, and stood there. So then they're standing there like, what's happening? Like my son.
You didn't say like, that's my time.
Nope.
Let's say you just.
I did the last bit, and then here we are.
Oh my God! You finished the last bit and then stood there as if more was coming, but no closure.
No closure.
Oh,
and they're staring at me like my son got through the entire flight, landed on the tarmac, and shit my pants.
Could you imagine if a surgeon did the bypass surgery and it was all done, but then he just doesn't sew them up. He just and the nurses are going, all right, we have to finish it. We have to close this.
Yeah, he's eating his lunch like, Doc, you got a guy up there you got to sew
Doc,
up.
there's still blood. There's an opening.
Yeah.
Dude, that is the funny. Because I didn't see I saw.
No, they edited it out.
I saw. Oh, okay.
They edited that part out.
Okay, I saw. That's so funny that he looked at you going, Greg, you gotta
do this.
I love how you're going. Fuck him.
Fuck this guy.
For leaving me. He's stranded.
I'm gonna fight him.
He stranded me. He stranded me. The crowd's looking. You were probably in your mind.
Yeah.
There was two things. One, your set is over, but I think the tipping thing. In your mind, the button could have been the tip.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yes.
Subconsciously in the back of your mind, you thought this isn't over until he comes over and I give him 5.
Yep.
But what you didn't realize was you need to say goodnight for the set and then do that. That's great.
Completely.
That's fucking great.
And I didn't think about that. That's 100% what happened.
Yes,
100%.
Because in comedy, when we think of that one joke we need to add, sometimes we'll add it, but then we'll lack something. We'll forget something else because that was the. So your focus was
last joke. That's the closer.
Your focus was the tip.
The tip was the closer.
Because you did the set, and then you wanted to be different than everybody else. You wanted to do something nobody else has done.
Yep.
Which I love the idea of tipping and the Italian. So great. And then you're just, so you finish the last joke, everybody loves it, and then you're standing there, and you're just going, why is everybody,
looking at them.
Why is there no,
and then I did crowd work. I started doing crowd work with the crowd.
That is one of the funny, and I love that there's no music, so you're really confused.
I had no idea, man. And I'm sitting here like, everything is like, is it because I'm a man? Maybe because I'm a man. If I was a woman, he'd say, I'm like, every horrible thing is now going in my head on why he wouldn't come over.
You're already thinking of the articles to shit on the show and him. If I was a woman, Hollywood's changed. They went too far the other way. Yeah. Oh my God.
If you watch the last second, it literally, I do the mosquito joke, and then I say good night, and I'm laughing. And you could see I'm laughing because I literally was just like, they go, yeah, just say goodnight and we'll cut it. And I even told them, I was like, look, you leave that in if you want. And they were like, dude, that was like 3 minutes. And they're like, we can't add that to the show. It's really funny, but
what? Wait a minute. You stood there for that? Like you stood there for an extra
3 minutes. To me, it felt like 3 minutes. It was probably like, I don't know, 40, 50 seconds. I mean, I finished my joke, and then I went,
and then you just started,
up?
I mean, I can't believe you just started doing crowd work. That's one of the funniest things I've ever.
And I looked at this guy, I was like, this guy's great. I was like, you married? I was like, my wife's crazy. Your wife crazy? And he's laughing, and I'm like, you want more bits? And then Corden is laughing, and then goes, no, Betty, you have to say, that's a horrible accent. No, Betty, you have to say goodnight.
Yeah, did James Corden become Bangladeshi?
Come on, my friend. Please, say goodnight.
Selling meat on 14th Street? What the?
Yeah.
Come on, buddy.
Completely. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really what. That's a real funny story. You know what's funny is I was looking to do. So I remember years ago, I saw you at Levity, and I was putting together a set for late night, and you go, you should have done that years ago. And then after that, I'm like, I'm going to start concentrating on hours. But, yeah, it's funny how, like, you always hear people, like, blank out. I remember one time Rodney Dangerfield was standing behind the curtain. I read Rodney Dangerfield's autobiography. He was standing, but he had so many jokes, so he didn't blank out of nerves.
Right.
He was That's how comfortable and how much ammunition he had in his gun. Rodney Dangerfield is standing behind the curtain of the Tonight Show, and he goes, "What am I going to do tonight?" Like he's about to go out, but he just has so many.
Sure.
So he's just like he could
it's
just
all clean.
It's all clean. It's so many, and he probably has like a categories of like, all right, wife jokes, there's 100, kid jokes, there's 100, ugly jokes, there's 100, no respect jokes. So he probably, and then he's like, whatever I use here, I'll just go to the couch, and then I'll make sure I don't use that. Like it was just. That's fucking awesome. No, congratulations.
No, thanks.
And you know it's
I got
fun.
20 followers. That's nothing for you.
No.
But it's the thing I wanted, you know.
It's one of those things where it's like you get the experience and it's something that you wanted to do. It's 20 followers is so funny.
Dude, well, I mean, like to your credit, man, you're like a guy I used to look at and go like, man, he's really funny and he's not getting anything. And then when the Netflix special, all the things, when things started finally happening, a lot of us stood up and went, oh, thank God. Maybe it's not over for all of us. Because I'd watch you at Levity. I mean, I think I worked with you at Levity 100 times. I don't know, a bunch of...
you were like a Levity staple.
Yeah.
When I would go, you were always there, which was great. We had fun times.
And I'd always go like, man, if he's not getting it,
I
how the fuck am I going to get it?
Well, you know, what's funny is what happened in this business, and I'm very thankful that some older people and older comics and people that see you, that lift you and go, hey, man, real funny. And I'm like, oh, shit, that guy's that guy.
Right.
And they're like, dude, and somebody said, once things happen, but you said something before, which is really true, and any young comic listening to this or anybody should know this. It's like, you were like, I was ready for it. I should have had it. And then you just go out there and things happen when you're ready. Sometimes things happen. I heard Patrice O'Neill, rest his soul. I heard Patrice said you get things 3 years after you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Maybe that could even be more than that, right? But when you just keep going and it just gets to a point where it's undeniable, all the things that are going to happen, I think if you stick with it and people just see, you know, but yeah, no, it is, there does come a point where you're just like what happened for me, and this is what was really scary for me. Not scary, but it definitely I started to get tired of, not tired of, but it started to hit me where I was like, all right, how many waitresses and waiters are going to go, hey, man, you're like one of the funniest people that have come here. And we see it all the time. You're funny.
Right.
And I remember being on the phone with my wife, and I go, yeah, I heard that again.
Right.
You know? And then it was like, but I remember people would go, dude, it's called killing in obscurity.
Right.
And that happens.
Wow, killing in obscurity.
Yeah. That was you're killing in obscurity.
Right.
So it's like nobody really knows or cares yet. But just keep going. And then to get recognition after the Netflix special for like, dude, I had some legendary comedians reach out to me.
That's great.
And I'm just going like, what?
Right.
You know, like one text I could say, which really, I mean, I don't want to say, but Brian Regan reached out.
Wow, I love. Come on, that's a good one.
And Brian Regan is, in my opinion, Brian Regan's top 10 all time. Brian Regan kills at the level that anybody kills out without cursing, and you laugh that hard.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, that's a clean joke laugh. It's like, no, you laugh as hard as you would laugh if Chappelle was saying motherfucker or whatever. And he gets you to laugh like that. So for him to just be like, hey man, you know, me and my wife, me and my girlfriend saw your special, like, great job, congratulations. It's just like, that's Brian Regan, dude.
Right.
So it's like when things like that happen, it's like stay the course, man.
Right.
Stay the course and keep doing it. It means a lot coming from you. You're a guy that I feel like, you know, I've watched you at Levity and I've watched you at places, but you're free now. And somebody said that to me once, like after my Netflix special, and I was like, yeah, I was like on stage at the Stand the other night, and I just was saying anything, even if I know they're not gonna like it. And the person I was talking to goes, you're free now.
Right.
And when you're on stage, you're free because it's you. Like, so when you did the, you know, where's Smits and where's my money?
Yeah.
That was the real you.
Right.
The real you was coming out.
Yeah.
And then when you went on stage, you're like, I'm gonna tip this fucking guy. That was your instinct of you as a performer going, I'm getting this. I'm getting all of this.
I'm doing me.
And it's either gonna go the way I want it to go or it's not, but I'm doing me. That's a beautiful place to be as a performer.
Dude, and that all happened because people say, don't stop believing, right? I say, no, I stopped believing. And when I stopped believing, that's when I let go. When I went, I am what I am, and I'm happy here, and I'm not letting, and when you start to, not to sound like arrogant, but when you start thinking like, yeah, man, I'm funnier than Corden. Yo, I'm at the cellar at 3 a.m. after a tell sometimes to drunk people who are asleep. And if I can do that, I'll do your dumb late night show. Not that it's dumb, it's great. I'm very happy to be there. Have me back. But I'm saying like, I know now what I am. I know how to be funny. And it's like, if I die like this, that's fine. But I know what I can do. Like, I know my skill and my talent. You know, not talent, but like, I know what weapons I have because I've accumulated them. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Whatever.
Your crowd work is incredible. You're one of the funniest guys working in New York. I really believe that. I think you're one of the funniest guys out there.
Oh, you're the greatest
and you just have that, you know, it's guys like us, once we get put in the game, we just, and people see what we could do. You just got to see what we could do. It's like, we want to get in the game. And then at the very beginning, it's like if you're in a basketball game, you know, you're just so anxious, you maybe miss a couple jump shots. You're like, no, but I got a good jumper. But then all of a sudden, when you start knocking them down, dude, you're like, give me the fucking ball.
Dude.
And give me the ball, dude, because I've been doing this now. And it's a beautiful place to be, man. It's a beautiful place to be. And you're in such a good spot because you're going to get so much, and this I could tell you 100%, you're going to get so much inspiration, material, and stories from being a first-time father, having a 1-year-old, dude. The experiences you're going to get, like when he's 3, and then all of a sudden he's going to start saying shit that you're like, what? And you're going to see you and your wife and him, but he's going to do something that's 100% you, and then you're going to get that. And it's the beautiful thing about kids is people are like, yeah, well, don't do that, like, you know, people are always going to fucking give, they don't know shit. People are always going to give you, like, don't do that, like, kid material, and it's like, no, do your kid material.
My kid material is crushing.
But because that's the thing, it's your kid material. What those people are saying is, don't be like, oh, changing diapers is I'm talking about when you do shit that like only you and your son and your wife are feeling. People are gonna go, oh my god, I'm not
doing kid material. I'm doing like filtered through the kid material.
Of course.
Now I'm understanding, like, now through his eyes, I see the world new again. And it's kind of like, I've been saying this, like, I was straight edge, so I didn't do drugs or drink till I was like 30. So I did my life till I was like 30. Then I got drunk and then saw the world again through a drunk man. Then at like 35, I started smoking pot, and now I'm seeing the world through a high man. And now I have a kid, and it's like I'm seeing the world again.
And now you're seeing the world through a iced coffee at 1 a.m, man. Because as soon as I saw you do that, I go, oh, he's gonna be all right. If you would have been ordering that shitty wine at like 2, 3, I'd be like, oh, Greg might be. I need to maybe talk to Greg.
Dude, but when the kid came, I was also like, yeah, man, comedy's not to say comedy's over. I was like, my kid is all I care about now, and I don't care about my career. It's about him. And when I let go of comedy, that's when I started, like, it got easier a little bit.
Dude, here's the thing, man. And this is why I've connected with the clique that I have and even my manager. You know, my manager, is with Regan and Romano and those guys, and he said something, and he's like, the way why I like you, Paul, is he goes, comedy's not who you are, it's what you do.
Right.
And that's the thing. Comedy is, people get so crazy in the hamster wheel. I gotta do this spot, I gotta do that spot, I'm gonna fuck it. You know what I mean? And I see people, and I'm not trying to shit on these people,
Right.
but if you're living in a studio alone and all you're doing is running around doing spots, getting that cash, and then you look 5 years later and you're still doing that shit, so you have to figure out what your end game is. Now, if your end game is just to pay rent and live in New York City and do that, then you did it.
Right.
But for me, it was like, no, I'm gonna have, dude, I was like, dude, I had kids before, like I was 29 when I got married, you know, or just turned 30, like a week before I got married. I was 29 the day I got married, and a week later I was 30. I had a son right after that, and then I had a daughter 3 years after that. So I was in my early 30s with two kids in this thing, scared.
Yeah.
Scared.
Right.
You know, I remember being like, dude, I'm like a feature, and like I got a little boy at home, and my wife is working full time. Like, what the fuck? And I remember people just go, man, just, you know, but you get
That's where I'm at right now.
you get yeah, but you get but you all of a sudden, but so you have that thing where you're like, I know who, as soon as you just said I know who I am and what I'm gonna do, I was like, he's good, you're good, you're gonna be good, because it's just like good things are gonna happen, people are gonna want to work with you, you're funny, you treat people good, like you're a good dude, so it's like, you know, you're not an asshole.
Dude, I have to tell you a story before I forget. Now, I've been afraid to tell you this story. Stop if I told you the story, let me know.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't want you. It was a story between us, and I make sure that I don't want you to feel bad in any way, because it was a thing that was misunderstood. I'll just tell you the story. What I want you to say is, okay, let me just tell you this, because this is a wild story that happened to me.
Okay.
When I was at the brokest I ever was in my life, you were doing a fundraiser at Levity.
Okay.
Who was on the show was you, Bill Burr, Pete Davidson, Ben Bailey.
Wait, you were on it too?
I hosted that.
Yes.
Or I was on that.
No. You were on that show because it was the first fundraiser for my late brother-in-law, who passed away from a drug overdose, and what my mother-in-law wanted to do was she wanted to put together a show.
Yes.
Levity was like, Paul, we're so sorry what happened to your family. Let's put together who can we, and Levity. So I said it was Ari Lang came too.
That was the next
that was the next one. Okay. So it was Burr, it was Ben Bailey, it was Pete Davidson, it was myself, was Jessica, I forgot.
And one other guy, and when I'm blanking on his name now.
Chris Lambert?
Chris Lambert.
And they said, why don't you have Greg Stone come in? Greg's great.
Yeah.
And yes, okay, so go ahead.
So I had messaged Mazzilli, and I was like, man, can I get on this show? Like, I'll do anything on this show. And he was like, all right, let me reach out. Let me see if I can get you on this show, right? Gets me on the show. At the time, I was the brokest I ever been in my life, right? Okay. And I'm like, okay, we used to call it 777, because one year I made $7,777, and my wife was like, yo, 777 in the house. I was like, our rent cost $8,000. How did you even do that? Like, it was like portable.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's okay. I'll get to this gig. I'll do the gig, whatever, and we'll leave. Get to the gig. It's amazing. Everyone's cool, whatever. I'm standing in the office, and at the end, Ben and Bill and you guys like, let's come eat. We're going to go eat. And I'm like, I got no money in my pocket. And I go, I know how this will go. Someone will probably pick up a tab or something, but that's not me. I can't just go there and then like sit and then get a water, and then people ask me, and I'm like, why are you only getting a water?
Sure.
And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, I'll get paid, and you know, what's her name will take care of me, and then I'll go. So I'm standing there talking to Mel, and you come up to me and you give me a fucking bottle of scotch. You go, thank you so much for doing this. You give me this beautiful bottle of scotch, and I'm like, dude, this is too much. Like, no, what are you talking about? Thank you. Give me this big thank. I'm like, oh, this is awesome, right? Give me the bottle of scotch. I go into the manager's office, and I'm like, oh, can I just get paid so I can leave? And Mel was the manager. She goes, oh, this is a fundraiser. She was like, everyone was donating their time as a thing. And I went, no. I don't have gas in my car. I can't get home. And I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, fuck. So I'm talking to the waitstaff. I'm like, y'all give me $10 for this bottle of scotch. Give me $15 for this bottle of scotch.
Wow.
Right? Now, Ben Bailey forgot his hat. So I bring his hat to him, and they're like, sit, eat. And now I'm like, oh, I don't even know how I'm going to get home. So I go, nah, man, I can't. I got spots. And I see Bill goes, I literally, he goes, Sydney, I go, I got spots. And I got to walk back. So I go back, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do.
Jeez.
I get in my car. Nothing. I'm talking $0. No savings.
Wow.
No nothing. I'm in my car and I'm like, how did you let it get to this again? I'm like, you did this again. You no money. Now you're fucking stuck because you just picked this stupid comedy career. You do this fucking thing. I call Anthony DeVito, one of my best friends. I'm like crying. I'm like, yo, man, I don't know what the fuck. I'm like, and DeVito's like, dude, just go talk to Paul. It's like, someone will give you $10. I'm like, and I'm like, I'm not doing that shit. I don't really know him like that. I don't know anybody. I'm like, I can't. How do I fucking do this? I call my wife. She goes, I knew this would happen at some point. In the glove compartment, in the owner's manual. She goes, there's $20.
What?
You can get it, whatever. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Then I realize I've been in the car for an hour. As I grab the money, I look up and I see you, Ben, and Bill walk by, and I literally see Bill go, I thought that guy said he had fucking spots. And he has no idea that I was breaking down in my car. Drove to the gas station, out of gas, literally neutraled it in, put gas in, got home.
Oh my God.
Got home the next day. Got home the same day.
That's amazing, dude.
Crazy.
That's amazing. Dude, that was like one of the best stories I've ever heard. No, because because it almost is. It's amazing, like that. You look where you are now.
Right.
Look what you're doing now.
Right.
Right. And you're making money, and you're doing shit. You're doing TV shows. You're at all the clubs in New York. But you were at that moment, and you know, you said something that was really important, and a lot of people need to know this. And it's going to be weird for me to say this because I'm fighting with my wife right now. But the woman in your life, I got to give it up to a woman I'm fighting with. The woman in your life, man, the strength that they have.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there is some truth to behind every great man. I mean, let's not give it to him. I mean, we're the ones on stage. But like, I mean, we have the talent. But saying to you, I knew this would happen.
Right.
And like just keeping the calm.
Right.
You know, because like you would know to get the fuck out of that relationship if she started crying too. And she started panicking. But she's like, no. This was something that we anticipated. Yep. And she was like, go to the glove box, get this. And now you guys have a beautiful 1-year-old baby, and your comedy career is going. But that's amazing. And I didn't know.
No, how would you have? No one would have.
And I would have loved to given you gas. Of course. You know what I mean?
But that's why I was afraid to tell you that story, because I didn't want...
But nobody gave you money for the bottle?
No,
so you kept the bottle?
I kept the bottle.
Okay,
I kept the bottle.
Good, okay.
And I drank it the whole way home. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
That'd be funny if the end of the story was that I got a DUI on the way.
Yeah. But that's that thing, too, it's that dumb pride we have, too. It's like that shit of like, you know, and it's like that thing of like how, you know, that's why I was afraid to tell you, because I don't want you to be like, because of course.
Dude, that's amazing.
Of course someone would have, even if Mel, I would have talked to the manager. I could have been like, I knew her so well. I know that she would have fronted me some gas money. But I just, you know, you got our pride. You got our thing. Like no one, you know, but that being said too, with my wife, you know, like, no, she knew me, but also now she's got the kid and everything's getting stressed. And I'm the one in the pocket a little bit of like, we're good. You know, we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Also like, you know, I'm born in the darkness. I've been broke. I don't give a fuck. We get broke again. I'll get us through this. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to do this.
That's the thing. And like, when you go through that shit, it makes, you know, I went through stuff like that mentally.
Right.
I went through mental shit, breakdowns and kinds of things. Just even when things were going good. At my best, when I was I remember one time I found out that like we were doing a podcast deal with the gambling site or whatever. And like, we got like a nice deal for money. And I was in one of the worst places mentally in my life, just because I'm fucked up, like because I had shit going on, and I needed to learn how to deal with certain things. Right. And you know, I remember I said, and it resonated with a lot of people just because his reach is so big. But when I went on Rogan and I said, I go, I've been to the dark, dude. I've been to hell. Right. I've been to the darkest place. This is all gravy. I'm good now. You can't get me now.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Impossible.
Listen, I could go through things. I can get me, but you can't get me. No one else could get me. I can get me mentally, and I need to be on top of that. But when you've been through that, the seventh circle of hell or whatever, when you've been through all those things, you've been down, you've been broke, you've had no money, you don't know where to turn, you had all those things, and you get through it, you're like, I'm going to be okay.
It's be all right.
Things are going to be okay. And you're one of those guys. Another thing, man, not to get sentimental, but this is like the one thing I love. The one thing that I do on my show, and I love to do, is this show is about like real talk shit. And I'm glad you told me that story, because that's exactly what I want this podcast to be. That story is exactly what I want this podcast to be, because it's true, it's heartfelt, it's sad, then it's redeeming, and it's also like emotion. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I remember when you were on Bobby Kelly's podcast, and you had found out that he lost the weight, and you had found out, or you had see that, and I saw your eyes welling up, and then you got up and you hugged him and you're like, dude, I was worried, but I was like, dude, that's who this fucking guy is, and that's why you're sitting right there. You know what I mean? Because you're a different dude. You're a funny, great dude, but you're on another level of like special dudes in this game. And you're only gonna keep going. And you're only gonna keep going, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep going, dude. You're gonna keep going. People want to work with you. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna act. People are gonna want you to be in things, and you're gonna do hours, and sky's the limit for you, brother. And I really, you know what I mean? And you got, like you said, you've been through that. You remember where you were in that car. And you remember, and now you got a 1-year-old, and you're like, I'm fucking good. Give me a fucking 4 o'clock spot. I don't give a fuck. I'll take all the fucking 4 o'clock.
Absolutely, man.
You know what I mean? I'll be on iced coffee all night. Do you have? Well, this has been amazing, fast. I mean, we didn't really get to the.
We get to Star Wars.
Well, yeah. We got. You know, what time is it right now? What do we got?
2 till.
2 till. All right, we're gonna go like 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
5 more minutes, okay. So me and Greg did this at the Cellar, and we rated it. So I want you to, in the most abbreviated way that you can.
Sure.
Rate, in your estimation, rate all the Star Wars movies in your order, and then I'll tell you mine, and I'll see whichever ones we disagree. By the way, I did not see the latest thing that they're doing on.
You didn't watch Andor?
I did not watch Andor yet. Okay,
that doesn't count. It's a show. We're not counting shows. We're just counting movies, right?
We're counting movies. You can touch on shows, like you can touch on. I did see all the other ones. I saw the Boba Fett. I saw the Obi-Wan. I did not see Andor, but go movies, just movies for now.
We go.
And by the way, before, I just want everybody to know that Greg is one of the biggest. One thing you said at Levity one time is you were like, me and my roommate, Joe DeVito, my wife wanted to go out, and me and my wife were fighting, and
Anthony DeVito.
I'm sorry, Anthony DeVito goes, my roommate Anthony DeVito goes, you want to smoke weed and watch Star Wars? And you go, yes, I want to marry that.
I want to fuck that.
I want to marry that. I remember he said, but this is a huge Star Wars guy. So go ahead.
So, okay, so I have to also give a caveat, is that a lot of Star Wars is emotional connection, not necessarily what's the best movie. So,
emotional connection for you.
So for me, my number one is Return of the Jedi, which I understand is not the best one. Okay. But, dude, Empire Strike, I mean, the redemption of Vader, the fucking, I'm a Jedi like my father before me, I get chills. That's my number one. Okay. Number two, Rogue One. So sorry, Empire. Okay. Rogue One's like the best fucking movie. I would argue it's probably the best movie of all of them, but whatever, amazing. Yeah. Third goes Empire, of course. Okay. Then we go, for me, Episode 1, because of the Qui-Gon fight is unbelievable. Darth Maul's cool. Attack of the Clones would then be, then it's Sith, which is the third one. Yep. Then the second movie, and the sequels do not exist. They do not exist to me. If I had to rate them, I'd say Force Awakens, and then the rest are, to me, it's like they pretty much ruined Star Wars. Not because of female, but because what they did to Luke Skywalker to me is unforgivable. So I do not count those movies.
The Luke yes. Attack of the Clones, I couldn't. I really just. I plowed through it. Yeah. You know, it was just like it was like eating a salad with bad toppings. You were like, but I gotta get full. I kind of like that list. I liked, though, I have to be honest, I liked Force Awakens.
Me too.
I
liked Force Awakens.
When Chewbacca, when Han died and Chewbacca just started when he lost it, that was like the emotion of him. That was pretty good.
But that's what I say is like when they Force Awakens happened, I was like, this is great. We're on our way to something cool.
What they did to Luke in the next one, dude, what they did to Luke in the next, part 3, as much as people didn't like part 2 was so bad that part 3, I was like, all right, like part 2, dude, when he was just like that bitchy guy on an island, and he was just like wanted no part of the fight, and he was like whiny. I was just like, and you can't. Here's what I didn't like too. You can't do that after seeing him on the mountain at the end of Force Awakens with that look.
Yeah.
You can't see that look and then have him be a bitch.
Right.
Like, and he didn't like it. Like, I think Mark Hamill didn't.
Right.
Like, they were just like, dude, what are you doing to Luke?
Right.
You know, but that wasn't J.J. Abrams, was it?
No, that was Rian Johnson, who I will never forgive. And if I see him in the street, I'll curse at him.
I'll never forgive.
And I want to say, like, a point of that second movie and what I don't like is that he throws this lightsaber out of the way, like over his back. Like, who gives a shit? That's a kyber crystal. That thing can explode. Whatever. But if you compare that to when he threw the lightsaber in Return of the Jedi, because he has a lightsaber in his hand and he is at the door of becoming to the dark side. He is there. He is. It could have gone either way. Luke could have went dark at that moment.
Yeah.
For one moment, he throws the lightsaber away and goes, "No, I'm not going to do it. I'm a Jedi like my father." That's how you throw a fucking lightsaber. Not over your shoulder. You don't give a fuck. They fucked Luke, and then they brought the Emperor back in the last one, which means nothing Anakin did or Vader did is redeemed anymore. So you fucked Vader, you fucked Anakin, you fucked my life up. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't think there's a better way to end. You fucked my life up. Yeah, they had them all hosed up.
Yeah.
But what about when Skywalker on Mandalorian, the last episode? Dude, when he walked on the thing, did you cry or no?
There's a video of me.
No.
I've recorded it.
No.
Because I said, something is happening. Record this. And I recorded because I thought it was going to be Plo Koon or something. I didn't, because I've been hurt so bad by Star Wars. I went,
oh my God.
I knew from the get-go that it needed to be Luke. I went, it needs to be Luke.
Yeah.
And there's an episode where they show Ahsoka and she says he needs to go to a Jedi. And for 1/1,000,000th of a second, they play Luke's theme. And I went, maybe they'll do it. And at the end of the episode, I went, they're not going to do it because they hurt us. And then I saw the X-Wing.
With the
and I
hood?
went, maybe. Then I saw the hood. Then I saw the silver belt buckle, and I went, holy shit. I started bawling.
No.
Uncontrollably. I am Luke Skywalker. You don't understand. My brother was Han Solo. My sister was Princess Leia. I modeled my life after Luke Skywalker. You say I'm a good guy? That's because of Luke Skywalker. That's because I said that's why I need to be. I need to be doing good in the face of evil. When you were at a comedy club and they're like, if you do this, you'll get famous. I went no, and I throw the microphone on the ground. I go, I'm a Jedi like my father before me.
Oh my God.
I will not do hacky Italian jokes.
Oh my God, that's so
That's
great.
who I am.
Oh, that's so great.
Sorry.
That is so.
I scream.
No, that's fantastic. Well, there's no other way to end this episode, Greg. Thank you so much. What do you got coming up, man? What do you got to plug?
I got shows, but check out my podcast, Friday Night Greg. It's just fun. And Instagram, that'd be nice to follow me. I put all my clips on Instagram. That'd be great. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok, Greg F. Stone.
Follow Greg Stone, man, one of the funniest guys out there, and you're going to be seeing a lot of him. He's so funny. If you ever see him on a lineup in New York City, definitely check him out. Friday Night Greg.
Friday Night Greg.
Okay, check out that podcast. Check him out on all social media platforms. Dude, thank you so much for being here. Guys, I have some dates coming up, but they're all being added now. I got a big 2023 tour coming up. I did, however, last night we added November 10th through 12th. I'll be at the Stress Factory in New Brunswick, New Jersey, doing 5 shows. Tickets went on sale last night, so get tickets for that. I haven't been to Jersey in a long time. Check that out, and I have a whole list of new cities and dates that are coming up for the end of this year into next year. You go to paulvirzi.com, check out the Virzi Effect everywhere you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify. Also, the Anything Better podcast that I co-host with Bill Burr. We're doing our NFL picks preview too for BetMGM. You can check that out. Check out the YouTube channel, all of my socials. Thank you guys. We'll be back next week with another episode of TVE. I want to thank Mike Albanese. I want to thank the Greek Freak out in Beverly Hills, Andrew Themeles. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you next week.